All right, good evening, everyone. It is October already. This year's flown by. We're in the 2nd of October and weather's still warm. So we're in that fall summer. We thought we were going into fall, but then we get the fall summer that's back in the 90s. But hopefully the weather will be cooling down so we could get out fishing and not have to worry about sweating so much. So tonight we'll be talking about different ways to cook up some fish, some of your favorite ways. I'm just calling it fish in general. Doesn't have to be trout. It could be crappie or catfish, any way you like it. Before we get to that, I will just go through that email real quick. So let me see the return to JB. I talked to Ken and he wants to, I don't know what day in October he's thinking about, but one way,
16th.
the 16th?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 16th, he's saying we are going back regardless if we have the materials that headquarters said they put my order in. So I don't know when I'll get that, but once I get that, I will get it to Ken, but Ken's saying we are going forward with or without that material, which he says he's got enough to tie and everything. So, and I'm still here, is the PL. We were kind of told if we didn't have a PL, we didn't have a program. So I am still here. We'll be fine. So you guys are stuck with me is basically what I'm trying to say. So I'm doing fine. We're all good, except for my crazy cat's playing with one of my flies. So we are going back the 16th. So that will be at 6 to 7, which is normally the time that we're doing this. So we'll slide over to the 17th. For our Zoom calls, so we don't try to fight each other for the same time slot. I will be calling Ken after this just to kind of make sure I know what's going on and where we're all meeting. So we could get there. I'm sure we're going to probably be there by 5 to set up and make sure we're ready to go.
At JB, we're
Yeah.
going to be meeting at the gymnasium.
Yep. So
Okay.
probably around 5, just set up or
Yeah.
well, I'll talk to Ken. I'm just kind of guessing. And I'm kind of going back 3 years to what I barely remember what we did before COVID. So I'll get with Ken and I'll get more of the details on that. But 16th, we're going back to JB. Hopefully. Scott, you were saying you heard another VA facility closed down because of COVID.
Yeah, St. James is closed now. Our Legion was going down there and they were told it's locked tight. They can't get in.
So I know COVID's coming back. It's trying to rear its head. I know one of my daughters who stays with her mom, she just tested positive. So the whole family has it. And I have another friend that his whole family is going through it again. So who knows if this is going to try to make a comeback or not, or if everyone's gonna, who knows what'll happen. So it's, as of right now, the 16th, we're going until we hear otherwise.
I got flu in this shoulder, COVID in that shoulder.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
You're ready to go. Yeah, because I still need to get my shots, my flu and everything. So
Where'd you get it at, Terry?
CVS.
that's where I go. Last time I went, I got them right before lunch and they said come back after lunch, but that was like an hour and a half lunch they were taking, so I didn't go back. So flu season's coming up. That's if you guys want to get the shots, that's good. But again, I don't know what's going to happen with JB. But again, as playing right now, the 16th will be there. The other thing that we got going on, Frank helped us out getting us the American Legion Post 208. So we had that last month and we're going to do it again this month.
Hey, Frank.
Yep, yay, Frank. Saturday, the 21st. We're doing it from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., so it's a little bit later. It is bring your own equipment, but I will bring some as well, making sure that if we have any people that are new to the program, we have to have poor Jim run back and get another vise. So I'll have extra vices and tools and everything to tie for that. I'll say this again before we get to that date. If there's a certain fly you want to learn, let me know, and I could get the materials ahead of time so we could do that. Like Frank was bringing up, he'd like to work on his rod. So you could bring your rod if you want to finish up the rod build. It's basically whatever you want to do. It's kind of almost a social thing from 12 to 3 p.m. Just have a good time. I'll probably put this out too if you guys want, if some of you guys even want to try to show up a little bit earlier, let's say like maybe 2 hours early or something, we could try to find a little family restaurant nearby and we could have a breakfast before we even go if you'd like to do that. I'll put that out there and we'll see if we could find a place, and I'll see who's interested, and we could even go for breakfast before we do this.
It's on Saturday?
Saturday the 21st.
So how often are we gonna be doing this?
Once a month. So we're gonna I'm trying to have our little get together like that once a month, and at least one fishing outing a month. Sometimes I know 2 is kind of hard because that really starts that we have JB on Mondays, Zoom calls on Tuesdays, and then we like joining in with John Wright on his calls on Thursdays. So I know it gets a little bit busy. So, I'll try to still do probably maybe if we do 2 fishing, like, we're talking about Lane Spring coming up. We'll talk a little bit about that. But then we'll also try to do maybe something local that we're not driving so far. So, and even if you guys, a lot of you guys are retired, if you guys want to even meet up during the week, by all means, please do. That's kind of fun because then you beat all the crowd, all of us working that show up on the weekends. So
Frank's probably got some ideas for getting together for breakfast.
Uncle
Maybe.
Bill's.
What's that?
Uncle Bill's
Uncle Bill's.
is not too far, right down in Manchester.
That's a good place.
Yeah,
That's always a good place for breakfast.
yeah.
So I'm thinking about Uncle Bill's then. So Uncle Bill's at 10 a.m. or at 10 a.m. And then we'll take our time and then get to the American Legion at noon. So again, if there's anything special you need, let me know. So I know I could bring the material and make sure I could handle whatever you want to do.
Now, is that Legion Post the one on Sulphur Spring Road?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And you could confirm that with Frank, so I don't give you bad directions again, Roger. So you don't go to the wrong one.
That's the right one. 225 Old Sulphur Spring Road.
There you go. I still have some material in storage, not a whole lot. That kind of got cleared out. I need to go visit Hargroves to see if he's got anything more for us. But if you need anything, I still have some stuff, not a whole lot like I used to. We'll still have our Zoom call. Again, we will have it today and then on Columbus Day, if you guys still want to do it. I know some people will have off, but then after that, it'll go to Tuesdays starting on the 17th. Let me see things going on. So the Union Missouri Vets Fishing Day, congrats, Scott. That went off very well. You had a lot of veterans there. It was a good time. We had a blast. I don't know if you want to talk more about it. It was a good time. We had our little table up. We tied some flies. We watched Lee catch a whale. So we had they had a lot of nice prizes for everyone. It turned out to be really nice.
There was one hell of a lot of protein on those
Yes.
tables.
Yes, there-
Man, that was the meat.
yeah, it was like going to one of those 2Oct2023 or something, death by meat, walking out of there with the meat sweats. My gosh, it was pork steaks and brats and chicken and burgers. It was just
Coleslaw.
coleslaw,
Wings.
beans, and oh my
Wings.
god, wings. Yeah, there was a lot of food there. There was then they were actually trying to get us to take some home for our neighbors and our family and the probably Ukraine army as much because how much food was there. Holy smokes. So it was a good time. It's a lot of people were there. It was kind of neat. The Missouri Department of Conservation was there. Local police showed up. Firefighters were there. It was a really nice event.
Hey,
So
Dave Matrano, did you or Ken catch anything?
Yeah, I actually got a little catfish and some panfish something or other. So that was fun.
Nice.
I was definitely confused when I pulled that catfish up. I was like, all right then.
Yeah, it's one for the bucket list for fly fishing.
Yep.
So going on with that, let me see. So the next thing that we got going on then is the 15th. So we've kind of talked about it already, but I will get the invite out and we will be going to Lane Spring. So I'll probably, I know that's a little bit of a drive. So I don't know if I should do like as early as 8 or should I do 9 or just kind of start it at 8 and then just kind of decide whenever you show up, you show up.
Yeah, that's pretty much got to be what it's going to be.
Okay. Because I know it's a drive out there, but
If I leave at 6, it'll be 8:30 before I get there.
yeah. And I know
sure.
I think the first time I ever went out there, I think I actually I don't know, I think I rented a room out there, or
Yeah.
somewhere near there because I knew we were doing I think it was like we did Lane Spring one day and Montauk the next or something like that. So I think I rented a room one night. So but we'll just do Lane Spring. I'll get directions out there. So if you're coming from the Illinois side, about 2.5 hours, and then from the Missouri side, it's about a 2-hour trip out. So there are some hotels near there if you want to spend the night or if you just want to get up early. Fun little stream. It's part of the Little Piney
Yes.
goes through there.
Yeah.
So I think the 2 times that I remember fishing with Jim there, I know he caught it might have been the same fish in the same spot because I've never seen such a pretty trout in my life where it had like an orange belly, pink fins with some white and, a red line and the par marks and everything. It was absolutely the prettiest trout that I've seen twice, and I could still picture that same location where there's a spring coming in on the right where you could see sand and then rocks and they kind of meet right there. And I could still picture it both times. It's very pretty. The trout are a little bit smaller, but they're on the wild side. So you have to work at them for a little bit, but
What's the date on that, Mick? What's the
That-
date? The
that
date?
is the 15th
Is that October or November?
October.
Yeah, I don't think I could make it that day.
Oh,
Oh, we'll miss you, Jim.
Yeah, because we're trying to get this in before they close the gate.
Yeah,
You know, it's you could still fish it after they close the gate, but you got to park by the gate and walk in, and you could take your sled down the hill and get there and fish. But after a long day fishing, that's a walk up the hill that I don't know if I'd really want to do. But
yeah, it's about a quarter mile downhill and about a mile and a half back.
yeah, exactly. So that's why we're trying to get this one done before they close that gate.
I got church, so.
Nick, what
Oh.
about what about one of these, I don't know the name of the place, it's by Salem. It's a privately owned place that you should go to.
Is that Westover?
Yeah, I guess that's it. What about us getting together and go there?
We could do that.
We could do it. We could do that on Walt's money.
I thought he wanted us to go to Salem and burn some witches. I mean, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's good for October, but we could always go to Westover. I've never fished there. So we'd have to,
It's an expensive place to go.
is it, you know, so.
So, I mean, don't we have a little bit of money?
No, like I said, you know, that money.
Walt, where did we get you at?
Yeah, the money is gone.
I'm under the impression that they let loose the money.
They let loose some money, but that's for, that's probably almost already gone. But, you know, we'll have to get more money in. I gotta talk to Ken. He said he might be getting some more money in, but that's where we'd have to try to make it restricted so we could use those trips. But-
That didn't work in the past.
So, yeah, we'll put that on a side note. We won't talk budget right now. But if we want to do a Westover, that might be kind of on our own dime, or later on, once we get funding, we could do that. But I don't mind doing something like that. You know, it's we'll
What
just
about,
play.
what about south of Montauk on the Current River?
Say again.
On the Current River, south of Montauk.
Yeah, we could do that. It's
There's a place called Nichols, and I mean, it's a big cutaway. Depending on how many of us can go, you drive out there, and there's some huge brown trout out there.
I'm up for that. So just let's put the head in our pocket and, you know, keep a list of things that we want to do, because I've never fished that. So I would love to go do that.
What was the name of that one again, Walt?
It's called Nichols. It's down, if you go down outside of Montauk, you take a logging road back out there, and it's basically in the middle of nowhere. It's just a big bluff, and there's a lot of fast and water.
Is that by Baptist Church?
No, it's on the other side of that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that area, but sounds like it would be a good trip. I don't know if it's something.
I might take one.
Well, even if you just go to Tannico, no, what's the place? Tanback?
Tan
That's
that.
Yeah, that's a good place. I mean, once you get out of Montauk itself, you've got 10, 15 miles of great trout fishing.
Well, you can fish from Montauk from the edge of Montauk, or the trout park,
The wire.
down. And there are some big browns down there. But my experience, I don't know what other people's experience is, but usually you got to be there really early in the morning to fish them, and it depends of weather too, you know. But my experience is when it's warm and dry in the fall like it is right now, I've never had any luck in the fall there when it's like where it is today. Best time I've had good luck down there is the very end of October, first part of November, when you can finally get some temperatures and get some overcast days down there. It could be pretty good. But I've known people that go all the time, and whether they're fishing streamers, or I've known of people down there that have, fished got some pretty good sized brownies out of there. But it's been a really long time since I've fished, either really late in the evening or early in the morning. Usually the midday, I never have any luck.
Yeah, so let's keep those on mind for sure, because like I said, I want to get out at least once a month. With the winter coming up, if we wanted, that could be one of the trips that are a little bit longer. But then we have the urban trout stocking, so we could pick some of the lakes we wanted. We had Jefferson Lake at Forest Park. That was a good time when we were there. And I know Tom Hargroves usually has his little event that time as well, where we've done that a few times, and that's a good park. So we'll pick out some of those good places to go. And then again,
Kind of looking down the road, one thing that we didn't get to do this year, and I really wanted to. Can't remember why I couldn't this year, but maybe going down to Arkansas Fly Fishers sow bug roundup.
yeah, they're actually coming up with that was Mike Swanson, our regional coordinator, really wants us to have a presence at that. So he's working headquarters and all that and trying to get funding for that. So he's trying to get each of the programs to send a couple people out there. So if you're interested in that, for sure, we will try to get some people out there. I don't know how many.
What's he expecting? Is he expecting us like to sit at a table and tie with other people?
Yeah,
What his thought is?
I know he said if you're going to go on, again, there would be limited spots on being funded through the program. But if you were funded through the program, it was supposed to be one day you sat at the table and tied. Then you had one day to kind of look around and sit at other tables and enjoy it. And then you get a day of fishing for the 3 days. And so he would have, a couple people, okay, your team A, B, and C. A will tie the first day, B will tie the second day. And that way you could do that. So there's going to be limited spots for that, but, for the paid trip. But if you wanted to go out there, a bunch of us could still go out there and just, because I want to see it regardless. So even if I don't get one of the paid spots, I'd like to just go out there. I have
never fished the White River.
Yeah, I would love
that. Is an amazing fishery down there.
Because I'd almost kind of want to go on my own dime. So that way I'm just going to do what I want to do. And,
Maybe we ought to get a bunch of us program leads together, Mick, and go down there on our own dime and go out of Cotter Trout docks on a float trip.
Yeah, it's, that's kind of, I know he will have some people paid trip, but I'm kind of wanting to go on my own dime. That way I could do what I want to do. I could stop by the table and maybe tie for a little bit if I feel like it, but I don't want to be tied down to, doing something that I'm like, man, I'd rather be doing something else. So
this year, I just looked at their website. This year, the 2024 sow bug is celebrating the elegant wet fly. It's March 21st to the 23rd, 9 to 4.
Okay.
$10 entrance
right into
for all 3 days.
Well, there's not going to be much turnaround time there for the casting comp, is there?
Yeah, because it'll be March and then April is, and I don't have a calendar for that far, but it's usually the third weekend of April is the Veterans Fish Free, and which is our regional casting competition, and probably that March as well as when St. Louis will have ours for those who want to go for it. Lee represented us last year. What Lee, you took third, right? You're
Did very good job.
muted.
Did very nicely.
Yeah. So yeah, Lee did well. I can't hear you.
You're muted. You're muted, Lee. Your mic is off.
Sorry. I said I can't do it again if I've already done it once, correct?
No, you could do it because the guy who won the national, I think that was his 4th trip out to nationals, and he's won it 3 times. It took second one time. So, you
We
know,
gotta stop that. We gotta put a stop to that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's again, you know, we'll see if, you know, Scott or Dave want to go for it, or Frank.
Mhm.
You guys are all welcome to go for this if you want.
I didn't know if we had anybody representing us, so I was gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 4 participants on right now, so. And Dave, I'm gonna keep you a participant for a while so I could get you good program stuff.
Yeah, tracking.
How many volunteers do we have? You know, here?
If you go by the CRM tool, we probably have about 25 volunteers and about that many participants signed up, but a lot of them, they sign up and then I never hear from them. So it is
So
what it is.
Can we double dip?
What do you mean double dip?
Can I be a participant and a volunteer?
No. Not for this competition because they're trying to do participants, and so we have a bunch of new guys as well.
Okay. What about going on events? We have to be participants to be selected to go on
As we talk for Freedom Ranch, they have for participants and for ambassadors. So if you would like to be put in for an ambassador spot, let me know.
Okay.
And that goes for, you know, Frank, Scott, Lee, Dave. If you guys are interested in Freedom Ranch, let me know. And then I will try to get you guys in as participants as well.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but okay.
It's
Be careful, Nick.
What's that?
You got to be careful because they're getting kind of fussy about this. If you're a volunteer and a participant, then that makes you an ambassador. So that means you cannot go as a participant.
Yeah, you would go as an ambassador. They have the ambassador's trip.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot easier to compete and go places as a participant than it is as an ambassador, I think.
Yeah, because there's only a couple ambassador trips, and so say that there's, I think what they've done 18 trips this year. I think maybe only 4 were ambassador trips. So you know, but then participants, you know, we put your name in for it, and you know, hopefully you get selected. So, and basically it's a trip out. It's, you know, expense paid. You go to Montana, and they take you fishing for a few days, which 2 days of it is on a drift boat. So you're on a boat, and instead of always having to recast, you're in a boat and you drift with your indicator and all that, and you just kind of sit back and relax. There you are in the mountains, so there's a lot of moving and stuff like that. So it's a physical activity for sure. So something to think about, you know, because you're up at altitude, so less oxygen, you're moving a lot. So it gets kind of tough. So something to think about.
Yeah, well, I lived in the San Bernardino Mountains before I came out here. I was at 6,000 feet.
Yeah, and I think that's about the same elevation there. So, so that when that starts coming up, I'll get a hold of you guys and see if you guys are interested for that.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing, that was kind of brought up, but again, last thing on our thing is 21st of October at the American Legion. So we'll meet at Uncle Bill's at 10 a.m. and then we'll go to the American Legion Post 208 and tie from 12 to 3.
Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah. And then last thing, but absolutely not least, again, Omaha Zoom meetings are every Thursday, same time, 6 to 7.
I went last week. I enjoyed it, John.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I was glad you were there, Lee. That was we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I was driving to Lebanon at that time, so I didn't get to Lebanon.
I was able to ask my one bonehead question, and I'm satisfied now.
There you go. And there,
Mike's tying some really strange flies that I've never heard of, a caddis, and I don't know. I think I've just lost my mic.
Oh, you're back now.
you're back.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
I think he was tying with that one hump in the middle. That was odd.
Yeah, that's a weird fly. That's an old fly,
Okay.
The
Been around
Humpy?
a long time.
A
That's
humpy?
A humpy, yeah, that's what it
No,
was.
well,
Kind
he
of.
tied two of them. One of them was the predecessor of the humpy. I can't think of its name right off the top of my
The
head.
double Humpy.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like a scud tied out of deer hair.
Hmm.
So
Very cool.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
good.
So to the discussion on how to cook up fish.
Hey, before we go to that, real quick. Okay, so the sow bug I pulled up here.
Oh yeah.
One of the I got to see this guy like 25 years ago. He's still there. His name is Davey Wooten, and he's a very famous fly fisherman, fly tire educator, conservation person. He's made his living off the Arkansas River and the North Fork for quite some time here. But he's going to be the featured guest of honor in that area, and he still operates a guide service there, as far as I know, down in that area in Mountain Home. But anyway, for what it's worth, I got to listen to him, one of his presentations when I was down there, and again, this is over 25 years ago. But he was a really good presenter. It was very fun to listen to him. He's from England, and when I saw him, he's kind of a little guy. He had this big old cowboy hat on, and it was just so odd to see a guy with a big old cowboy hat on talking with an English accent. But anyway, just throw that in there for what it's worth. But
Very cool.
But I've got it on my calendar. I'm one way or another. I'm going to sure try to do it. I remember the reason why I couldn't go last year is because we did the rod building class in March.
Yeah. And that's why I'm thinking hopefully we could do it February, because
Yeah, we can do the rod building class in February this year. That would be much better for me because
yes, yeah, yeah, we'll do the
I
rod.
wouldn't go to that this year.
Yeah, we're not going to do the rod building in March because I think a lot of us want to do the sow bug, or we would skip that weekend so we could do it. So, all right,
You're gonna drive down to Soundbug, Mick?
yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go or not. I'll probably be sending Mike down there, but if he can go.
You almost have to spend the night down there if you're just going to go for a day. I mean, it's such a long distance.
Yeah, I'll get a hotel room
yeah.
and I'll have I'll probably take my wife's minivan because if anyone wants a ride from the St. Louis area, we could carpool in my wife's van.
And you might see
rent a car.
You might see some other famous fly tires there too, or people there. I know Dave Whitlock used to go. Of course, he's deceased now. But
Oh yeah, a lot of the guys from TU will be down there. I think Albedy's going to be down there, and a couple of others of the well-known not TU FFI guys are coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very inspirational to me as long time ago. So I wanted to move down there and just do that, but that didn't work. So.
Not too many barges load up right below the dam, huh?
No, it doesn't work like that. No.
No. All right. Now our favorite fish cooking recipes. I do have one seasoning. I'm actually just going to put this to speaker view, so whoever's speaking at the time. When I do cook Ed Bennett, I do one of two ways. I'll either fry them up or I will grill them up. And I really like the grill part. Basically, I clean them at the stream and I just do the normal cut from the vent to the neck and then kind of gut them out there. Once all cleaned up, I keep the head on and everything, but you could take the head off if you want. But then with skin on and everything, I just take my fillet knife and do vertical cuts about every inch down the body, each side of the trout. And then what I like using the most is this McCormick Grill Mates seafood. I don't know if you could see this. It used to be like a salmon seasoning they had. It comes in a big, I get this at Sam's Club, and I just coat the inside of the body cavity and the cuts that I made. And it makes it real.
Just showed up when you were talking about how to clean the fish, and that was the one thing I wanted to hear.
Oh, the cleaning? Yeah, it's cleaning is almost best. You know, I'll describe how I do it, but it's best that I show you.
Okay, I'll wait for that. Okay.
But basically, it's, and I use the smallest knife. You really don't need a big fillet knife. I actually have
Like a paring knife?
yeah, a paring knife. If the blade's an inch, that's all you need, you know, something very tiny.
I tell you what works really, really well, and I
What's that?
stumbled across this completely by accident, especially this time of year. Look for the pumpkin carving kits. They come with a little itty bitty knife that are sharper than hell, and they work great for slitting him.
That makes sense.
Yeah, even at one time I was using those you know little like they're like a buck knife, the utility knife where you could just change out the razor blade where you don't have to worry about sharpen it. And
Right.
it cut that does really well, but you do got to be careful because razor blades are razor sharp. But you just go from the vent at the tail and you just cut up their belly right to kind of near their throat. And this is where it would be kind of hard to say. They got their mouth and then they got their lower jawbone and then they've got loose skin and then there's like a very hard point. And that loose skin I cut to like the very, you know, from the side to the lower point of the jaw, and I do both. And when you do it, it looks like they actually now have a second mouth.
Oh,
And then what I do with that is I stick my thumb in that second mouth and try to get my thumb deep, and then you just hold the head, and when you pull, it pulls the lower jaw, the gills, and all the guts out in one pull.
oh,
And
okay.
then, you know, if you're at Bennett, you throw it, you know, and I throw it on the shore, let the raccoons and the vultures.
Right, I remember you were talking about that. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that I saw this weekend that throw it right where people are trying to fish, and now the fish are, you know, going after that, and you know, you just ruin, you know, 10 people's fishing trip.
Yeah,
by
because
doing
now the
it.
fish are satiated and
Yeah. So it's, I always throw it up on the bank, and you know, the turtles will get it, the raccoons or the vultures, you know, they
Mhm.
eat that. And then once you look into the body cavity along the spine, you'll see a membrane and about an inch wide black streak through it. And it's like a bloodline almost. You just got to use your thumb and just kind of clean that out. You just break the, you know, membrane with your thumbnail and you just kind of rake it out, and you just kind of, you're doing it right by the stream water, and you just kind of wash it out in the stream, just kind of like that, and get it out. And after that, it's cleaned. So if I'm going to grill it, I leave it like that. You can pull the head off if you want, but as I said, I leave the skin on when I grill it, but I make the cuts and then I put this, you know, seasoning on.
Right.
And with the grill, if it's, you know, 300 degrees, I put the fish on like maybe 6 minutes each side, and it just chars the skin. And then you just pull it off, and the skin will just then come off. and you'll see the meat there. And if you wanted, you could still use lemon or lime or even more of your seasoning. And then with a fork, the meat will just come right off the bone. It just slides off. And that way, some people like to fillet, but you do kind of waste some of the meat. With this, the meat comes right off the bone. And when you're done, it looks like a cartoon where you got the fish head and the tail
And then the bones. Yeah.
So you get every bit of that fish out, and that's good. Now, if I'm gonna fry it, I clean it the same way. But then what I do is I take the head and I break it, like if I was trying to fold the head back to its back, and then I just pull and the skin comes right off. And now it's skinned out. And you could fry it like that then as a whole, if you have something big enough to fry the whole fish like that. If not, I make a cut right before the dorsal fin and right behind it. So I chunk it up into 3. And then my favorite is still, I forgot that. It's very common in the grocery store, the breading. And I use the red. There's a yellow and red. I'm trying to think.
I know what you're talking about.
Is that like Louisiana?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It'll come to me.
Bay something, isn't it?
Old Bay is a good seasoning if you want to put on fish, but I'm trying to think of what that's called. Oh my God. But yeah, it's and I just fry it up with that.
Okay.
So that's what I do for, trout like that. But while we're talking, I'm gonna look up that
Now I've been watching Alton Brown with that Good Eats. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
No, I never heard of him.
Andy.
I'm kidding.
Well, he was trying to show how you plank fish. You get some wooden planks, soak it in water really overnight almost. But he never showed how he cleaned the fish. He always showed after the fact, and I was getting upset with him.
Just go out and Google it. Just go out Google and look up clean trout, and there'll be 5 million hits.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
If you get plank, I don't know. For me, planks work really good for fillets. I've never tried a plank on a whole trout.
Yeah, it's for fillet.
Works really good for fillets.
Okay.
My experience on planks is I don't ever really soak them more than maybe 15 minutes because it gets too much moisture in it. And 15 minutes is just about enough just to get it soaked enough because you want it to get some of that smoky flavor into it. If you get it too wet, it has a hard time getting in there. That's just my experience. But maybe it's depending on your grill or how hot your heat is underneath.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to you can do that with what's that, Barramuda or salmon, or you can just get some frozen fillets if you want to try it at home before you do a fish. And cedar planks and just cedar and soak them. I usually just put like something a little heavy on them, like a bowl or something in a pan, and have my grill good and hot, probably around 350 degrees. And really you have to look and see what temperature you want to cook it to. I don't remember. I think 160, 165 maybe. I don't remember. Maybe it's less than that. Probably less than that. And I usually just season them with, I really try to cut back on my oils. So usually I just take the Pam spray, the oil, and I'll just put a little salt and pepper or some dill. Dill works really good, and I'll slice lemons and put on the top of that, and then I'll just put it on the plank and just throw it in the grill, and basically in about 15 minutes you're done. I use a meat thermometer to make sure it's cooked through, but that's the easiest wham bam deal you could do there, I think.
Okay.
Anyone else have any?
Yeah, I got a real good recipe. I'm not sure if I've never done trout this way, but I'm sure you could do just about anything. But that's basically piccata. It's a very simple recipe. It's easy to do. It's quick. And I mean, in my book, it's like restaurant quality meal. So what you do is, so I've done this for bass and bluegill and crappie. And anyways, you put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. You take your fish and put a little salt and pepper on it, and then you dredge it in flour, just just a light coating of flour. You put the fish in the pan, and with the bass and the bluegill, it's usually like 2 minutes on a side, and in about 4 minutes cooks the whole thing. And then you put the fish on a platter, and then you deglaze the pan with about a quarter cup of white wine. My preference is like Pinot Grigio, or maybe a Sauvignon Blanc. I think a Cabernet would probably be maybe too heavy a flavor for it, but I usually do Pinot Grigio. So yeah, so you put in a quarter cup of wine in the pan, and you just take a fork and you just get all that the leftover flour and stuff like that. You're deglazing it. Throw in some lemon juice, some capers, some butter, and some parsley, and you just kind of mix that all up, and you use what's in the pan as basically a sauce, and you pour the sauce over the fish. And I mean, to tell you, I love it. It's just a great recipe, and like I say, it's super simple. I mean, when we're up in the Boundary Waters, I always try to keep everything simple, and that's a very simple recipe, and it's really good.
Yeah, I'm looking for what I could do with my trailer, be out there at the trailer park and cooking up dinner, trying to chase people away from my trailer.
Yeah, just need a fry pan, that's it.
Yep.
That sounds really good, Jim. I'm gonna try that. That's really good.
I wasn't hungry, but I am now. But so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one for you, Mick.
Sure.
Show it to you here. Now, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. I smoke. I do not like fish, period. End of conversation. I don't eat fish. My wife tries to force me to eat fish, but I don't. But this I do like. And here it is right here. And it's pretty simple. It's a dry glaze. It's not really anything. Why can't I get this to move? Oh, I know why. Just a second. Let me see if I can find it here. There it is. Okay. It's a dry glaze. So you just mix all this stuff up, and the salt, the brown sugar, the onion powder, the garlic powder, and everything, and you put it on the fish and you just leave it set. I let mine set for about 5 or 6 hours.
Oh.
And then I've got an offset smoker that I use, and I put this fish in the smoker, and he says here, let the fish brine for at least 3 hours, 6 hours. Yeah, I let it go for the 6, and you put it in the smoker, and he recommends, I forget what it was, several hours. And it turns out that in reality, I did mine the last time for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. I set the smoker. I don't have too much of a control over it, but I set it for 140, 150 degrees, and it finally got up to about 200. But after about 45 minutes, my meat thermometer showed the fish was at 145 degrees. And I do fillet them. I fillet everything. And I pulled that off the grill, and it was absolutely, and I smoked it with apple, and it was amazing. I took it what I had left over that the wife and I didn't eat, and I took it with me to a fishing event with some folks at the Game and Parks, and it lasted all of about 15 minutes.
Wow.
So they just said, you guys, you can give me more of that anytime you want to. So, but it's simple. It takes about 10 minutes to mix it up. The ingredients are readily available in the kitchen. You could do it almost any place. Use anything to smoke with. I think you really do need a thermometer because if you over smoke it, it comes out like cardboard. So you got to be really
Right.
careful with your temperature. So, but Jim, I like your recipe.
He froze, or did I freeze?
I'm glad Mick is recording this because I wasn't writing at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just Google a fish piccata recipe. I mean, they're all
Okay.
over the place and they're all basically the same. And it was, I mean, we've been going up to the Boundary Waters for 20 years and we,
Yeah.
3-4 fish meals a week. And for years we were doing fried fish every single time. And, we're at the age there where
Yeah.
we have heart problems and all that kind of stuff. And we thought, well, we need to look into something else. And I found that one. And I mean, we've been doing that ever since. It's a great recipe. Like
That
I
sounds
say,
good.
I'll do it with bluegill and crappie and
You
bass.
fillet them or you did do it whole?
Fillet them.
Fillet 'em? Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
I-
Dave, how you
Yeah,
doing?
all right.
Yeah, I
So-
even
sorry I'm
fillet my
late.
bluegill.
No worries. We're just happy you showed up. So you
Okay.
came kind of towards the end. So how you
Okay.
doing?
Oh, pretty good. The company just left, so I thought I'd throw out my recipe if you're still doing recipes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What I do is smoke the trout, and what I do first is make a brine, and I get about four fillets, 2 fish, and I make a brine solution, and I put it in one of these containers. Put the fish, stuff the fish in
Oh,
there.
okay.
This is a Utz's pub mix
Right.
canister. So
And you
so
use a
with
salt and
the
sugar brine?
I'm sorry.
A salt and sugar brine?
Well, actually, it's a recipe I use. Found it, and it seems I'm not real crazy about a strong trout taste, so the brine tames it down, and you take about four pounds of fish, 4 cups of water in a bowl, 1 cup soy sauce, 3/4 cup brown sugar, 1/4 cup sea salt, and 3/4 of a tablespoon of garlic, granulated garlic, and mix that together. Stuff the trout in the pub mix container, and then pour this over top. It works out just right. It fills it up to the top, and I throw it in the refrigerator for a day or two. Then put it on the smoker. Set the smoker. I got an electric smoker, so I set it at 225. Get the smoke going, and throw the fillets on top of it. Then I put slices of lemon all up and down the trout fillets, and then leave it in the smoker. Normally, I just smoke, let the smoke accumulate in there for a while. Then I turn on the heat to 225, and normally takes about an hour to smoke them. The 145 degrees or thereabouts, and they turn out pretty good. It doesn't have that strong trout taste to it.
Okay.
And that's it.
Very cool. Any last ones? We're getting close to 7.
Dave, do you actually stuff the fish in that bottle you showed us and then pour the
Yeah.
brine over the top of it?
Right.
Huh, I never thought about that. That's a good idea.
I used to take my wife's Tupperware bowls and you need about 3 or 4 times that amount of liquid to cover
Yeah.
everything. And I smoked some trout last week, and I had this empty container, and I said, I wonder if they'll fit. And sure enough, they were about 3 pound, 2 pound plus trout. So I had about 5 pounds in there.
Cool.
Cool.
I got one real quick. Hello?
Yeah.
Go for
Go
it.
for it.
Okay,
Good to go.
I just went, my video went off.
Calling
Okay.
Walt.
Okay.
can hear you.
Earth to Walt, Earth to Walt.
Take the trout and I.
Use
go ahead and put it in the-
dynamite. Is this the one you use dynamite it with?
Ooh.
No,
Like
not today. You put butter, salt and pepper, and some dill, wrap it up in aluminum foil, and throw it on the camp, on the charcoal or the grill. Let it cook about 10 minutes, and it's done.
Yeah, we used to do that. We would do overnight trips on the Current River, and if we caught trout, I always had aluminum foil and same thing, butter, dill, and slice up some lemon, throw
Yeah.
that all together in a foil pack and put it in the campfire, and that's good stuff. That's a great,
Yep.
great simple recipe.
Very simple. Everything you got right when you go camping.
Yeah, I used to backpack into the Colorado high country up above timberline, and we cooked an awful lot of brook trout like that.
Huh.
When you're really hungry and you haven't eaten all day long, that stuff is pretty good. But when you get back home and you try it at home, you know, it's amazing how it doesn't taste anywhere close to how it felt. And then when
Yeah, out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very true.
We had when I was in Germany, we went trout fishing, and we brought a bunch of trout back, and Linda stuffed it with crab, with a stuffing and crab and lemon.
That sounds good.
The kids hated it. We went to clean up the kitchen, and my 2 kids sit there and threw it out the 4th-story window of the housing area. Just chucked it out. So, probably still there.
It's funny. We'll have to, I know it's end of season, but we'll have to come up with a fishing trip probably next year. I don't know if we go to Merrimack or something like that, or somewhere, and we kind of do a fish fry. You know, I think that'd be a fun event.
let's do it at the casting competition, Mick.
That would be a cool thing. I think that would be fun.
That would be great. You know, we could have a fishing a cooking competition.
Oh yeah,
Some of us could smoke, some of us could fry. Man, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it'd be just kind of like a taste. We wouldn't be able to feed that many people, but
No.
it would be kind of neat where they could just taste different fish.
Of course, it requires somebody to catch some fish. That's going to be the long pole in the tent.
Yeah.
We'll count on Mick. We'll count on Mick.
Hey, Mick.
Yes.
If we could find somebody with a pond on their farm where we could catch, doesn't have to be trout. That might be the best way to, fill up some pans and skillets with fish to have a fish fry.
Yeah, and I know someone who
has a pond. Yeah, I've met him
just
before
bought
too.
a pond, and or actually he bought 31 acres from one of us and just stocked it. So I'll see if he'd be generous to let us go back to his lake now. And
well, I was thinking someplace a little closer than
gotcha.
Bennett.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mick, that sounds like a good topic for you to bring up tomorrow night at the regional conference call.
Oh, that's right. It's regional tomorrow. I'm glad you reminded me. I forgot. It's always the first Tuesday of the month, and I would have forgot.
That might keep us from getting too real serious about this stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I forgot. There's a gentleman out in kind of Union area that's got a pond, rock quarry that has a nice new deck, and that we could
Couple of little boats.
I think I heard it.
I might even bring some carp from Omaha.
Ooh, yeah.
You're not invited, John.
The
The damn carp there.
They're
Well, that'd
corn
be
fed,
the only-
man. They're
That'd
corn
be the only
fed.
live fish in there.
Okay, guys. Okay. Well, actually, next year we're going to be catching our carp up in South Dakota because they're killing off Lake Ogallala. So we've lost our fishing hole. So
Oh.
so we're going to South Dakota, which will be a lot closer for you guys.
Yeah, and we'll have to see because I know there are people around here that fish for carp, near Alton. I think that would be something we could try local too,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's don't go the River de Pere though.
Yeah.
About some gar fishing.
I've heard people call those poor man's scallops because the way you clean them, you get two back straps, almost kind of like deer, but they're white meat. And you just
Ooh.
chunk them up and cook them up like scallops. And they say poor man's scallops.
That's like salmon, you can fillet salmon out and chunk it up into 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch strips or chunks. Boil it salt water for about 10 or 15 minutes and serve it with shrimp sauce. You swear to God, you're eating shrimp.
And I used to go to the grunion runs in Southern California, where you just throw butter in the pan right there by the ocean
Yep.
and heat it up.
You call them grunion, we call them smelt in the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I caught 4 of them yesterday.
You caught sushi.
Yeah. I was gonna say anchovies, but yeah.
So I think next week, I'll tie up some egg patterns. I was gonna start a little bit today. I don't know if you could see that. I will try this. This is that eggs to sea material where it's kind of floofy. And then I use a red bead as like a blood spot on the egg. During ladies fishing at Bennett this past weekend, there was a lady using this in zone 2, casting to the other side, and every cast she had at least a hit. She wasn't setting the hook right. So I think out of every 4 hits, she caught 1, but she was catching a lot.
I remember her. Yeah, I remember.
And
I'll tell you what, Mick, you soak that guy in anise oil for about 30 seconds and you'll get a fish in every single cast.
Oh, absolutely. And it was kind of funny though, because the one lady who, when she would catch it, I'm kind of getting back where you could see it when she'd set the hook and she'd set the hook, she'd be like, boom, and then she'd just reel with the rod pointing straight up but over her head like this. And it was like, you can kind of bring it down as long as you have it, the rod up, don't catch it. But the whole time she'd be doing this, and it was like every 5 minutes, it's like, man, my arms are getting tired. It's like,
Imagine that fish would have smacked her in the face.
So yeah, that worked really well. And so I will use the McFly material as well, so I could show you 2 different kinds. And I'm going to go back for those of you who know Tom Jones. He's going to be a member of our program. Yesterday, it would be Sunday, he caught a 4-pounder out there. So
Oh, wow.
So he's one of our guys.
That is so cool.
Yeah, he was zone 2, right where they have the vets fish free. And he's got the scale on, but it's hard to see, but right there, 4-pounder. So
wow,
he's one of our guys, zone 2, right where they have the tent set up. He's using a Bennett Blue. So Bennett Blue crackleback.
Wow.
Hey, Mick, I know we're running out on time here, but an idea that I've had for a little while that, of course, I haven't had a chance to get on here very much lately, but I think it'd be kind of fun to have some sort of a tie off on here, pick a fly, and at least from a virtual standpoint, if you can't go down to the VA or whatever, have some sort of tie off and say, maybe we do you know, some sort of a deer hair humpy, or, just something, just kind of fun, just as a challenge, or even just throw out as a challenge. Hey, somebody says, even if it's a complicated fly that, I or somebody else has never tied. So I want to see you do a Royal Wolf Coachman, or whatever the case may be, just
Yeah.
to sort of add a little bit of flavor into, some of the fly tying. I think some of these things
Carl,
are,
you might want to check our Zoom call, the third Thursday of every month. We have a fly tying class that we do on Zoom. It's hybrid. Some of the guys are at Bellevue University, and then Mike broadcasts it from his studio. And right now we're intermediate fly tying. So we've got Mick. I think you get the copy of what we're tying every week. So
Yeah. And same thing like Carl John, where on that Thursday, Mike Kelly and I has gone head to head on fly ties, and that was kind of fun because then we had everyone kind of vote. So that, that was fun. We did it on Thursday. We got to do it on Monday now, coming Tuesday night. I think that would be fun. We'll have to, since I already called the egg pattern, I'll do this unless we want everyone to try, I'll open it up that we could start that next week. If you want to do an egg pattern with me, and then we could kind of compare them and have a little friendly competition.
What size hook are you using?
I'm using as a size 12. Let me put this stuff up so you could see it. If you wholesale fly companies back in.
For just a minute, let me pin you.
Yeah. It's their model 28 and size.
what's it look like, Mick? I can't see the shape.
Let me put it on.
Is that a Scud type?
It is a Scud type. This is probably my favorite model number from those guys. Let me set this back up real quick.
Did he ever tell you why he was going out of business?
Just wanted to retire.
Oh, okay. So this is somebody else who's running it now, right?
Yes, we have a new guy called Matt. So here's the shape of it, and I really like it. This is what I use. The same hook. I use a smaller size, but I use it for my what is it?
What size is that bead?
The bead is actually bigger than an 8, the next size. So 5/32.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do a tie off with you, Mick. I've got my own egg pattern that I tie for a salmon up in New York.
Cool. Then we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Thursday. But that model 28, which is kind of right off to the side here, it's got a big gap, and I like that. And so when I use my foam beetles, I could make it look buggy underneath like it is there, but it won't prevent me from getting a good hookup. So the model 28 is basically, it's called a Czech nymph caddis. And I probably have these in size 12, 14, 16. It's my favorite hook that they got. And then, as I said, here's what the hook looks like by itself. So it's got this nice flat area right there where I do the foam body for the foam beetle. But then it's also got that nice flat spot for when I use it for, the egg pattern. And I use red because, a lot of the salmon eggs have a blood spot.
What size was the one you were using yesterday to tie just that little thread, those thread
That
jigs?
was a size 20.
Okay.
And that's when I use for zebra midges and thread jigs at that. I kind of like going down to 20s, which you would think would not, the fish wouldn't catch it or wouldn't see it, but they do. And usually I end up doing a double rig. I'll do a size 8 or a size 16, which is kind of my attractor pattern. And then behind that would be like a size 18 zebra midge. And that
Yeah,
does well.
this time of year, small flies seem to work best. Not only down there for you guys, but also up here for us too. It's I tried 12s and 14s up on the verdigris a couple weeks ago, and I got zip, nothing, not even a strike. So
Hey guys, I need to jump. You guys, I'll talk to y'all later. We'll tie some salmon flies salmon eggs next week.
Salmon eggs.
oh,
So
have a good one, Carl. Thanks for the recipe.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Appreciate everyone calling in and coming up with the good eats suggestions. If you need anything, reach out to me. Like I said, you guys are still stuck with me, though I will be having help where needed. You guys have always been a great help. So everything's going to go as normal. I will get invitations out real soon so we could start looking towards Lane Spring. And I will get the email out probably tomorrow for the fly tie-in Zoom call next week. So again, if you have any questions or anything, need me, you guys got my phone number, you've got email and text. So I will let you guys go. We're
Thanks, Vic.
order
Okay.
after. So you guys take care and we'll see you soon.
Bye,
Scott,
Dad.
thanks again for the nice opportunity to go out and visit with the vets.
Yep, that was a good time. You did a good job. All right. Take care,
Okay,
everyone.
We'll see you guys. I won't
Bye-bye.
be able to make it next week and maybe not the week after, but we'll see you later.
We'll send the state police on after you.
You don't come
Take
back.
care.
Again?
Tight lines all. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care.